Okay, good morning, everybody, and hopefully you're having a good day so far. I think we just had a little bit of rain outside. I'm not sure. That's what it kind of sounded like, but I haven't had a chance to look. But hopefully you're having a good day wherever it is that you're watching from. I hope you had a great day yesterday. We had a good time at church last night. If you couldn't be here, I'd encourage you to be back our next time together, and that'll be this coming Sunday. Look forward to that. And then think about it, it's October 14th. We are right in the middle of the month here of October. And man, it just seems like time is just flying by here. Seems like we just got into the beginning of the school year, at the beginning of September. September just flew by, and here we are midway through October already. It's incredible how fast time has been flying by. But I hope this power finds you well, and we're going to dive right into Proverbs here this morning. And so join me if you would, Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1, and we are kind of in the middle, maybe a third of the way through here. Join me at verse number 10. Proverbs chapter 1 and verse number 10. Trust that this walk through the first several verses has been a blessing to you. It has been to me. It's been convicting and not to over dramatize things, but really, as we've read it, it's life changing. If you allow the Word of God to penetrate into your heart, it is life changing and life altering as well. Let's look, verse number 10. Here we go. Proverbs here 1 and verse 10 says, "My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave and whole as those that go down into the pit." And so we see this warning from the writer of this proverb here. And we see this warning about in verse number 10, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. And this this warning here by the individual writing this proverb here says, hey, be careful who you're with. He says, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If there are those that approach you or come into your life that want to encourage you to do wrong, encourage you to, and we see here, lay wait for innocent blood, to let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause, and looking to do people harm and to rob people and take things from people. And you look at actually verse number 13, we get a glimpse into who these people are. It says, we shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. And so we see really the temptation here to partake of work, or not really of work, but to partake of taking things from individuals. And we see the promise here, the wealth. We see really it's ill-gotten gain that is the temptation here. And really to attempt to get wealth without working for it by stealing from others and filling our coffers. And so the point here is this: to avoid the temptation of ill-gotten gain, to avoid the temptation of, you look at, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. We know it. Sin looks so good and it is so enticing, whether it be the sin of covetousness, the lack of contentment, whether it be the sin of and really think about our life. The grass always looks greener on the other side of the fence. The grass looks greener in somebody else's yard. And in their what appears to be their financial situation, their relationship situation, whatever it might be, it always looks greener. The challenge for us is, hey, don't let, if sinners entice thee, you look at that, if they entice thee, the temptation is always going to be there. Are we going to be able to consent thou not, to reject that temptation? Man, it often looks good, and the means by which we get it sometimes get lost in man, I've got to have it. And so, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. And we see here Our responsibility is this. Oftentimes we cannot avoid temptation. Temptation is there. The challenge for us and our responsibility as Christians is to consent thou not. Uh, we often can avoid it, but we can reject it. Reject that temptation. Listen, think about our life, the life that we live, the temptation that's out there for acquiring things. Okay, there's nothing wrong with things, but we can often get so caught up in acquiring things that we put ourselves in debt. And financially, we get so caught up in, I got to have this, I got to have that. And we overextend ourselves financially so that now all of our time is spent worrying about making that next payment, worrying about how I'm going to do it, worrying about, man, I've got to work more hours here. And so what do? Well, I cut some things out of my life. Maybe it's our quiet time with the Lord, our time in prayer. Hey, I just don't have time to do it, man. I got to get all this money. Hey, we can't give the way that God would have us to give. We can't tithe because we're so stretched financially. If sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Think about it. Man, everything we see on the television, man, it looks good. The temptation, man, I gotta have. Oh, look at that truck. Oh, and man, I would love to get a truck. I would love to. I'd love to get a new car. I love to be out on the boat. I love to get everything that I can. You look at all the snacks that are out there, the Snickers, the M&Ms, the Doritos, all the temptation that we experience when we turn on that television. Think about it now. If we go out and bought everything that we were tempted with, we would be in a world of hurt, correct? You bet. And so we've got to be smart. Just because it's out there doesn't mean we need it. Just because maybe we've got a little bit of money set aside, we can get that thing, maybe. But man, don't go into debt for things that are going to strap you financially, and we got to avoid that temptation by succumbing to it. Sometimes, man, we get so bogged down financially that, as I've already said, that limits what we can do. And what are we sacrificing? Maybe family, obviously giving back to the Lord. And there's a lot of different things that we sacrifice, our relationship with the Lord, because we've got to have. And so just a thought for you. And now, let's see if we can finish this out here. Verse number 15. We see once again this challenge, my son, walk not thou in the way with them, refrain thy foot from their path, for their feet run to evil and make haste in shed blood. So, as we've said here, says verse number 10, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Hey, temptation is going to come. Okay. That's a reality. Reject that temptation. And then sometimes we can't avoid that temptation, but sometimes we can. Look, verse 15, walk not thou in the way with them, refrain thy foot from their path, for their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. Think about this now. There is some temptation that we can't avoid. Are we putting up safeguards in our life so that we don't fall to temptation? And I'm thinking now of that temptation to sin. If we don't put ourselves in positions to be tempted, we're less likely to be tempted. And think about, I'm trying to think of a way, different thing. I say this often, but I just think of alcohol, probably the easiest one to think about. For the alcoholic, he's going to be less likely to drink if he does not go to the bar. Okay. And I know you can go to the store, buy it, and so on. I understand that. But just as an example, if the alcoholic goes to the bar to drink, and he's trying to fight that temptation, fight that urge, if he refuses to go, he's not going to get drunk. Okay. And that's just one example. I know you can go buy it and all that kind of stuff. If we don't put ourselves in a position to be tempted, we're less likely to fall to that temptation. Okay, I hope it makes sense. And we could take your TV viewing. You know what? If maybe have this policy: don't ever watch TV alone, and you won't watch things you should not watch, or at certain times of the day, and maybe at night. The programming, we don't have cable at the house and so on, but the programming at night gets worse and worse. And so maybe have a policy in your home: don't turn on the TV at night at certain times of the night. Don't put yourself in a position to fail. Okay, avoid that temptation. That's what's being said here. Walk not thou in the way with them, refrain thy foot from them. Now, verse number 17. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privately for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. And how true that is. With this will close. Think financially. This is kind of what we're talking about, that ill-gotten gain, that thought of being greedy and, hey, I've got to have that. Maybe as a teenager, maybe I was a little more foolish, but I would save up my money for certain things. And you know what? Once I got those things, that I thought I needed, that I thought I had to have, once I got it, I was like, man, that doesn't give me the satisfaction I was hoping that I had. And I began looking for that next thing. And that's what that greediness aspect, does to us. That idea of hey, I've got to have it. That temptation that's always out there to have, to get. And we look here. Listen, the companies that sell stuff and all of that, I'll be honest, they don't care about you. They care about your money. They don't care about your health. And that's why, we go out and we buy those things. Maybe oh man, look at that on the TV. It looks so good. I got to have it. Those kind of things. And just take just a thought of these last couple of verses. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. It's easy. When we see things out there, hey man, that's I'm not going to do it. For me, I can watch a commercial about alcohol. I don't care. It doesn't affect me because I'm not ever going to go out and buy it. But there are other things that I see. Oh man, that looks good. That I've got to have that. I've got to go get some of that. I love Mountain Dew. And that's not good for me. The Pepsi Cola doesn't care about me. They want to make money off of me. And I love to drink it because it tastes good, but it's not good for me. And you look at this, verse 18, they lay in wait for their own blood. They lurk privately for their own lives. They're looking out for their own well-being. They don't care about us. They don't care about you. And so just be mindful of that. And I don't know what it is maybe that you're looking for in your life and what it is you struggle with. Just be wary of the temptation out there. And don't get so caught up financially in something that you cannot do the things that God wants you to do with what he has blessed you with. And so those are just kind of the thoughts for the day. I know I've rambled a little bit, but I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen as we get into Proverbs because it hits on so many different things that hit us in our everyday life, things that we deal with. And hopefully it's been a blessing here. So just be mindful of the temptation that is out there. All right. Let me give a few shout outs this morning to everybody. Thank everybody who's watching live. Good morning, Jerry, Paula. Good morning to you. And Cliff and Karen, thank you for being on. Good morning. Jody, good morning to you. By the emoji there, I assume you're freezing there in Montana. But I just heard some rain out here, and it has been raining here this morning. Good morning, Gene. Thank you so much for being on. Brian and Cindy, good to have you on. Pastor Barnett, thank you for watching this morning. And Proverbs, as you have alluded to here, very practical truth for us each and every day. And thank you, Cliff and Karen, for your prayers and I'll be heading to Florida here this afternoon, or to Alabama. So pray for me as I take my mom down there. All right, Lord bless you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.